Hello and welcome to another Thursday Live here at the Association of PEMF Professionals, aka the AOPP. I'm Dr. Jerry Dreessen. I am the Executive Director here for this amazing international organization that is all about helping you learn about PEMF, being certified and using PEMF devices, whether it be for humans, small animals, large animals, to be able to take that knowledge for yourself or to build your businesses with that as well. And of course, at the end of our talk today, I'll be showing some links on how you can become a member if you are interested. But what I want to do today is get started on the end of our 4-part series. We were talking about let me jump over to here we go, to biohacking. And oh yes, I wanted to quick shout out to Steven for pointing out our little typo down there, May 9th. Of course, today is May 8th, so you'll be getting that crisp $1 million bill sent to you. So thanks for all your help pointing that out. Fortunately, we didn't get it changed in time for today's broadcast. But let's get on to our series, and we are going to be talking about how PEMF can biohack your health. And when I talk about this too, all creatures have basically the same engines inside. We're just, our DNA is different, but overall we do the same thing. And that's why PEMF can affect plants and living tissue and animals and humans all the same in a positive way, because in a nutshell, PEMF is all about Earth's magnetic field, which is what we all live in anyway. So people talk about grounding. That's where you take your shoes and socks off and you stand on the dirt. You're pretty much grounding your body to Earth's magnetic field. And those of you that are walking in concrete buildings all day long, or you're walking in shoes with a rubber sole, you've insulated yourself from this magnetic field that we live in on this planet called Earth. And so if there was a way to take Earth's magnetic field, put it in a device that you could then transfer and place on your body and help improve the overall health of areas of your body that are sick, now you're looking at what PEMF is all about. And since there are so many devices that are out there, and each of them have different operating manuals, different, strengths and attachments and things like that. We've covered all of that in the first 3 parts of this series. And now we're going to talk about how we can use these things and begin to biohack our body. So to start with, what the heck is biohacking? I'm sure all of you have heard this. Some of you may have heard it, but not know what it is. And so biohacking is the practice of using science, technology, and self-experimentation to enhance physical, mental, or emotional performance of health and well-being. It often involves making small incremental lifestyle changes with the goal of optimizing the body's function. Common areas of biohacking include nutrition and supplements, sleep optimization, intermittent fasting, cold exposure and heat therapy, genetic testing and personalized health interventions, and then wearable tech to track your biometrics, like your heart rate, sleep, glucose. So if you're wearing a smart device, if you're wearing a smart necklace, a smart ring, those things are all helping you track that. And now we have on our smartphones, we have ways of transferring that into a graph so we can see how we're doing. We've got, glucose meters, ways of finding out what's wrong with us through our genetics, so that we can preemptively strike that from happening. So, if your family has, all of the males drop because of the widowmaker artery. So, making those changes. So that's how we change our body's biological projected outcome, by changing these things. And PEMF is one of those things that we see. Dave Asprey, if you've ever, followed him, he has these clinics where he's got all these devices, including PEMF, to help you change the outcome of your body. My rule of thumb is you can live a much longer life if you do one thing. That's eliminate inflammation. So what causes inflammation? Well, those things that are in essence, anything that's man-made could become an inflammatory for you. So anything that's processed, but also things that our body wasn't designed to have a lot of, and that is sugar, wheat, dairy, those things we can have, but some people have them in such high moderation, or not moderation, in high amounts instead of moderation, that our body begins to attack itself and become inflamed. Some things are genetic. Some things are because we're not getting all of the basic oils that our body needs, like Lorenzo's oil. If you've ever seen that movie, you can kind of see that, where I'm going with that. So we have all of these great things in our lifetime right now that we can begin to see these things and modify them as they go. And out of all of these things, there's another great thing called PEMF. So you may or may not know, but our body has an innate ability to be healthy. That's what its goal is. And it'll do so if it's not being interfered with. And things that interfere are biochemicals, the food that we eat, the liquids that we drink, the clothes that we wear, the environment that we're in. For example, if you're in a house that's got mold, you don't know it, but you could be sick because your house is making you sick. If you're allergic to down, if you're allergic to feathers and your pillow's made of down, you could be getting allergies from that. You could be, your skin could be breaking out. And our skin is one of our biggest organs, and that is one of the biggest reflections on, what's going on with the rest of our body too. And then there's the whole brain to body connection. So, you've got massage, physical therapy, naturopathic, chiropractic, those things that help realign your system to make sure that that innate ability is functioning at 100%. PEMF is one of those things that can help turn things around if it's done correctly. And so what I've done is I've put together, it's about 5 different ways of biohacking our system using PEMF. And so one of the main ones, of course, is boosting cellular energy at the source. So PEMF stimulates the mitochondria to convert ADP into ATP more efficiently. So the more increased ATP you have, then the more energy for repair, regeneration, and performance. The key biohack on this is that cellular energy optimization without stimulants or external fuels. So you already have a powerhouse inside your body, inside your cells. So you go way, 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 way down to the cell and way, way down inside the cell. These are organelles. And there's multiple ATPs or multiple mitochondria in each cell. And if you've ever had biology, you had to study the Krebs cycle, the creation of an ADP, adding a phosphorus, turning it into ATP, and then having that phosphorus pop off with energy. That's part of the Krebs cycle, one of the main things that it's there for. And it's an amazing design if you've ever studied it. So PEMF goes in and it helps put all that stuff back together so we have more energy so that it goes to where it needs to be. It also creates nitric oxide, which helps break down exposures to oxidative properties. So what that means is that it helps the body get rid of the bad stuff while creating a bunch of the good stuff. So ADP, adding a phosphorus, turning that into ATP. If you are talking to a scientist or biochemist or any doctor that's gone through biology, they're really going to understand this one as a key component. Next is enhancing cellular waste removal. So if you could take a dirty sponge dip it in water and squeeze all the dirt out of it, keep dipping in clean water and squeezing all the dirt out of it. That's how you detoxify the sponge. Our body's similar. We've got a bunch of junk floating around, waste product. So every day our body's using energy. It's doing stuff, building stuff, and getting rid of stuff. So that goes through our lymph system, goes through our liver, gets channeled into our kidneys, and then out our system constantly. And our kidneys are a filtering system. Our liver is a filtering system. All of that works great if the energy is working. So of course you want to make sure your cells are creating ATP so that you can detoxify. But PEMF increases the cell membrane permeability. And what that means is before it was stuck, it wasn't getting through. So it opens up that permeability and allows the waste product to come out so that we can be like having a sponge that was wrapped in plastic. You can squeeze it, but it's not coming out because of that layer is stopping it from coming out. So it increases the cell membrane permeability, enabling better waste product expulsion. The lymphatic circulation also is gently stimulated, improving the detoxification and drainage. If you've ever studied the lymph system, we have this thing called the lymph port, and it's in our left side here, right next to our pec muscle. And this is where all of our fluid, interstitial fluid, comes up and enters that portal and comes through and enters all of our lymph system, all our lymph nodes. If you've ever had a bad cold, or even as a kid, you probably have these nodules, like right here in your neck. You got one that's still solid. That is, the lymph system is basically the battlefield. So your body brings in all the infection into these lymph nodes, and your white blood cells, they're like the warriors just waiting to get in there and battle it out, and they kill all the bad guys. They do an imprint on what that bad guy was, so that the next time your system can get to it a lot faster. But if there was a giant war going on, then that lymph node got swollen, got tender, and then when the infection was gone, it would either decrease back to size or it would stay hard, which was a battle that had a lot of casualties. But that's our lymph system. And again, PEMF does that. And that's why we talk about when you're using PEMF on your body, on an area, make sure you're drinking lots of fluids. Give your body a lot of fluid before and then after, because there's going to be a detoxification going on. There's also going to be, we'll talk about in a second, but any medication you're on is going to be absorbed better too. But the other one is just detoxification. So if you are using PEMF for the first time or putting it on somebody for the first time, if you don't take this one step to have them increase their fluid, then they're going to be sore in the area. Their muscles are going to be crampy. They're going to be a little nauseous. They're going to maybe feel like they feel fluish. That's just your body. That's just their body detoxifying. So it's because PEMF is doing part of its job, which is to help the body detoxify. Another one is to shut down inflammation and switch on healing. Not amazing. So PEMF modulates the cytokines and reduces the pro-inflammatory markers, which is like an exposure. So it is like in an injury, if it can go in and stop the process of the swelling, if it can create the healing process, if it can speed that up, then there's going to be less inflammation and there's going to be a faster recovery and reduced pain and clearer mental focus. So again, we talk about with an injury, there's RICE. So there's rest, ice, compression, and elevation. And what we're trying to do is stop the inflammatory response, because if you can stop that process, then the healing can happen a lot faster. For a sprain straining, for example, it could take 17 weeks, but if you can stop the inflammatory process right away, you can knock off 3 to 5 weeks of healing time, because the body has to deal with what happened because of the inflammation. And again, eliminating inflammation and increasing healing all in the same process, you can see how powerful this is. And it is a key biohack for injuries. And so if you can control the chronic inflammation and do that without pharmaceuticals, it's a win-win-win. And half the battle people get when they take medications is dealing with the secondary, tertiary reactions of what that medication is doing. And sometimes, the medication worked, but now they've got the toxicity from that. Or as we know, like the opioid crisis, where, the opioid works great, but there's such a high addictive, process. Same thing with alcohol. Alcohol is like one of the best anesthetics that is out there, but it has such a high addiction rate. So if there was a way to help somebody post-surgery using PEMF, that's really good. And again, inside our membership, we talk about that. If an area, if they just finished with surgery, you want to wait till the healing has started, usually 2 or 3 days, and then you can get in there and help with the healing process on that. But somebody's got a bump or a bruise, if they are, and again, there's always that 1%, like they're a bleeder, they've got some sort of genetic thing going on. But if they fit the categories, PEMF is great. Right after an injury or a sprain strain, you got a pitcher who, pitched 9 innings and his shoulder's killing him. PEMF is perfect for that. Even, like softball, volleyball, soccer, they take a header and their neck is sore. I mean, all of these things are great for sports. But also the person that's sitting all day long in front of a computer and their neck and shoulders are really sore. This does a really good job of decreasing that inflammation, increases their job productivity, makes them so that they are okay working the next day or going on the next day for the next game. And then, of course, we've got the neurological tuning with frequency therapy. So PEMF helps balance brainwave states, promoting focus, calm, sleep regulations. Again, there is a lot of research out there if you want to do research on those things, but also shown to reduce the cortisol levels. So stress creates cortisone or cortisol, and relaxation creates dopamine. So we've got a cortisol dopamine levels in our body. So when you go into like a deep meditative trance, then you're down into the dopamine. And, if you're stressed out, then you're in fight or flight mode all the time. And cortisol comes from the adrenals, which is on top of the kidneys, and you can have burnout. You can exhaust your adrenal system, and then you just lie in bed for weeks and you don't have the energy to do anything. So this is a really good system for that, especially if you can reduce the cortisol levels in the brain and also with your heart rate. So there's some good things going on there. Oh, I want to do a quick shout out. Kimberly, hi. Thank you for watching. Glad you're on board, and always glad to add additional information for those of us in the PEMF community. So again, the key biohack: mental clarity, emotions, regulations, peak performance, and mindset. Again, this is also a detox. We have this amazing thing around our brain that prevents things from getting to it. It's called the blood-brain barrier, or the BBB. And when we're kids, the blood-brain barrier, the holes are really big, so things can get through. So you got to be careful with medications and stuff. But as we become adults, those holes get smaller, which means that on a microscopic level, it allows it traps certain molecules or certain size molecules from getting into our brain. And but it does allow the cerebral spinal fluid to go back and forth, which is how we get our brain washed with oxygen. But if you have an inflamed brain, or that blood-brain barrier is inflamed, it's going to allow all kinds of things in. So again, this is a way of protecting our brain, but also to get it functioning again. I've had people in chiropractic where they have the brain slap or the whiplash and their brain is injured, and we have the PEMF on it, and that helps break down that inflammation that's inside there, which is, there is no other way of getting to it, outside of surgery. So really great processes there. Going back one into this reducing inflammation again, this right here in and of itself, post-surgical. So, amputees, burn victims, I've talked about those in the past. I mean, those are great fields to get into if you know somebody that you can bring in your machine and help them out with that. If you can imagine the burn ward of any hospital, having a PEMF device for each bed, so it helps that person heal even faster. I mean, that would be a business in and of itself if you could create a you are the go-to company for bringing in burn victim, I don't know what you would call it, devices, or, well, you're creative enough to figure it out, but you know what I'm talking about. And then the last one, of course, is accelerated repair for muscles, bones, and tendons. So PEMF stimulates stem cell activity and angiogenesis, which is increasing new blood vessels, used by athletes, NASA, for muscle, nerve, and bone recovery. So you can recover in days, not weeks, by activating deep biological repair systems. Good case in point, my dad had a really bad sciatica, and he was down in Arizona. He just came back, sat down, put PEMF right along the back of his hip and that sciatica, and he stood up and he's like, "Dang, that worked really well." And that was probably 20 minutes using PEMF right over the sacrum, the piriformis, and also the sciatic nerve itself. Just the reduction in inflammation created faster healing. So he's already up walking around with very little pain, and it's only been a week since he's been back, versus if you've ever had sciatica, I mean, that can take months to go away. So it does work. You've seen my broadcast on another patient of mine. She broke her shoulder. She's a piano player, and we got that to heal 4 weeks faster. And she's back playing the piano. I've used it on myself, sprains and strains. Those of you that are out there working out in the gym now, getting your beach body ready, sprains and strains, just even mild strains, it's great for all of that too. So just even the basic stuff. So again, if you went into a gym and you said, "Hey, I've got this great device, anybody that's a little sore from working out, if they want to come over here, I've got this station, and they got 10 minutes on there and help take away their soreness so that they can recover faster and come back to your gym more frequently, and get use out of their gym membership." So those are some things that you can think about there too. So that right there is the end of our 4-part series as far as how you can biohack your health. That's the last of the 4. And again, those of you that have been jumping on, watching me live, thank you very much. If you've been watching the recordings of this, that's good as well. And I've got Patrick. Hey, thanks for Facebook Live. Always learning something. Awesome. And that kind of brings me to this next point. If we are putting these together and you find good use, share them with your friends. Come and like them as well. Like on our, here we go. Like and share your things that you've experienced, but also subscribe, jump over to our Instagram, like those things. That helps spread our algorithms out so that more people see it and they can learn about us, either get a PEMF unit for themselves, or if they have one, they can learn, best practices, things like that. If you're a manufacturer, you make these devices, we'd love to have you come on board and be part of our membership as well, but also be able to provide our certifications to your purchasers of your product as well. But if you have a question or you have an idea for one of our next lives, definitely drop that in info@pemfprofessionals.com. We do also have a members only, so if you want to have a more in-depth discussion, jump in over there. We can talk about that. If you've seen this and are just seeing this video for the first time and like, who is the AOPP, then we've of course got on our website all that information, and you can go to pemfprofessionals.com, find out who we are, what we're all about. We're getting a couple of updates on some of our web pages too, so there'll be more information on that. And with that, boy, that's been 25 minutes already, so that went quick for me. But I do appreciate those of you that are live and interact, and also on and off that too. So I will bid you adieu, and we'll see you again next time on our next Thursday Live, and we'll be having some new topics to be talking about. So appreciate all of you and those of you that are members as well. So take care, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.